everybody, I'm Natalia Bonner. Welcome back. I am so happy to be here today and share just a little bit of a sneak peek of a really awesome urban cabin quilt that I actually pieced and quilted for myself. So I joined a fun sew along with Quilted Hearts and pieced this quilt. It was so much fun. I just started out with a fat quarter bundle and picked my fabrics as I went, and it was so much fun, so liberating to piece and have a lot of fun custom machine quilting this awesome quilt. So you can find my whole process of custom machine quilting this quilt over on our website, pieceandquilt.com. I share a more in-depth video in the Piece and Quilt Academy. Before we hop over to the machine and get quilting, if you would like to learn more about the Piece and Quilt Academy, you can head over to our website, pieceandquilt.com. In the Piece and Quilt Academy, we have over 100 exclusive machine quilting videos where I share my process of custom machine quilting some really incredible quilts. When you join the Piece and Quilt Academy, you gain instant access to all of those videos, and then I add 2 new videos every single month. So as long as you're enrolled, you have unlimited access to watch those videos. I do all of my quilting hand-guided on a Gammill 22-inch machine. I'm going to be stitching here today using the stitch regulated mode, and I do have my stitch length set pretty small at 14 stitches per inch. Let's get stitching. So before we jump over to the machine, here is my quilt after my machine quilting is all complete. I really had a lot of fun with this quilt. I approached it as if every block was a new quilt, and I really just played and had so much fun. The block that we're going to focus on today is that block in the upper right corner. I think that's one of my favorite blocks on this whole quilt. So we're going to mark out that block and then quilt down the side of it, that melon design, using the Sway 3 machine quilting ruler. If you have not yet picked up your Sway machine quilting rulers, you can order them through our website, pieceandquilt.com. So here's this block after my quilting is all complete. Such a fun block. So I'll start out here by measuring this border and then adding a few markings. So this outside border is a 1.5 inch border. So because it's a 1.5 inch border, I am going to mark these increments along the outside border that are all 1.5 inches apart. Next, I'm going to use my Sway 3 machine quilting ruler, and I'm going to mark out where I'm going to quilt, so those point-to-point curved lines. Now notice here how I'm using the Sway 3 machine quilting ruler. That end with the hook on it is designed so that you can use that to mark a perfect 3-inch circle. So the reason why I'm marking out this border, first of all, so that I know what my design looks like. I want all of my corners to have this melon shape that points from the outside corner to the inside. So I want to make sure that I mark out the design so that I know exactly where I'm going to quilt. It's something you don't have to do, but often I find myself doing it just so I don't mess up and I don't have to unpick. Now, notice how I'm using the Sway 3 machine quilting ruler, and I'm using the circle end on the ruler and then the concave curve outside of the ruler to quilt a 3-inch circle. So the way I've designed this ruler, the hook end is designed for marking that perfect 3-inch circle, and then the other 2 portions on the ruler are designed for quilting a perfect 3-inch circle, or close to it. I'm not perfect, so my quilting is never perfect. But you'll see here how I can use that ruler and hold it so it's close to my body and quilt all of those point-to-point curves. You'll also notice how I stitched out one side of the design and then worked my way back through the design. Now on an actual block, usually when I'm quilting a quilt, I would stitch out that design all the way around that whole border section. But just to save your time so you're not sitting here watching this for 3 days, I'm just going to focus on the one side just to give you the idea how I stitch out this design. Now, in the background around these melons, I want something that's kind of contrasting that will really make the melons pop. So I'm going to stitch bumps. The bump is essentially a straight line. When I reach the top of my space, then I'll just curve around and stitch back to my ditch. The spacing between those bumps is about 1/4 of an inch apart. Now, often when I'm machine quilting, you'll see that I will stitch in the ditch around most of my ditches. This is something that's totally personal preference. I love the way that stitch in the ditch work really defines spaces. So working into the center of this block, you'll see that I'm going to move on and quilt some straight lines that are evenly spaced 1/2 inch apart. I'm quilting those so that it really just kind of gives my eye a place to rest. That outside border is pretty dramatic, and so I just want something a little bit more simplistic next to it. Then I'll continue on with some stitch in the ditch work around those borders. From there, I'll work to that next purple section. In there, I'm going to quilt a fun, I call it a rainbow, but you can call it whatever, motif. I'll start out by stitching a pebble, and then I'm keeping with maybe only one echo around the outside of that design. And then finishing off the block, working right into the center, I'll go back to that simple straight line and that fun filler. This block was so much fun to quilt. Make sure you hop over to our website, pieceandquilt.com, where you can enroll in the Piece and Quilt Academy, and I'll share my process of custom machine quilting this quilt. Plus, when you enroll, you do gain instant access to over 100 other machine quilting videos. Have a great day, everybody.